It's really interesting watching how the media deals with inequality. Because when inequality was falling in the 1920s, 30s and 40s and 50s, the media helped quite a lot. It was part of the voice of the nation. It talked about people as being people, we should respect them, nobody needed a home, and then we had homes for heroes. And there were buffoons who thought that they were worth more than others, and they tended to come from the old aristocracy. And the media was actually a force for good. When you've got equality growing, you tend to get the media on your side. However, when inequality grows, and that's happened since the late 70s in Britain, the media again tends to be ahead of the curve. It tends to be the champion of inequality. It's saying we need to get more unequal to be good for Britain. Billionaires begin to buy your newspapers, and of course they believe these things. They wouldn't buy a newspaper otherwise. So your press becomes incredibly reactionary, and it becomes a cheerleader for unfairness, and it just moves far, far ahead of where the country is, and then it finds itself off a cliff. And in a sense, that's what's happened recently. So even the state BBC has had to publish the salaries of its presenters and worry about inequality within its own organisation. And the chief executive's pay has come down. You know, you're watching the soul of the media beginning to change, I think for the better. But that part which is owned by the very rich isn't going to change until the very rich sell, or are forced not to be able to own and control so much of the media. Without a more democratic, fairer media, it is difficult to deal with inequality because you've got a constant cheerleader for inequality. You basically got a kind of liar-in-chief saying, "Oh, this is good for you. You don't need that money." It really, it's an incredible argument to make. You know, think about Richard Branson and Virgin. You're telling people who are commuting on trains, you don't need as much money as you have. You need to give a little bit more of it to Richard because he needs more. If Richard didn't get more, Virgin trains wouldn't be as good. Yeah, this is a real challenge. I mean, that takes real media savvy to sell something as completely untrue as that. And in very, very unequal countries, the US is the only big country that is more unequal than us, and it has Fox TV. The media becomes ridiculous. Eventually, you always get to a point in world history when inequalities become too large to sustain. And then you're left with the media that supported it high and dry.